These are the hooks that I use to get 19 million views in 1 month, and they have earned niche experts hundreds of millions of views and are used by the biggest creators in the world. And most importantly, they do not require infinite time, crazy hacks, or big teams to make. Let's look at each hook and how to apply each one so your content and your business blow up next. Hook number 1. The micro mystery. So this was one of the micro mystery pieces that actually blew up my account and got me 19 million views in 1 month. The hook is when you're on a sales call and someone says, I need to talk to my husband first. Anybody in business, anybody in sales, we've all heard this before. Everybody says the same thing. Okay, let me know. What you actually need to say is not that. But I don't tell them that in the hook. I explain that in the caption. So this is a prime example of an open loop, a closed loop, and then the meat and potatoes are actually in the caption. Then they want to hear the explanation and resolve it by the end of the video. The real reason this video did so well is because even though this is going to attract my ICP, my ideal client profile, it also has the potential to reach millions of people who just generally want to know about sales and human psychology. So for example, you could be an intuitive eating coach for women who are trying to get pregnant. Now, you're not going to say, if you're a woman trying to get pregnant, because then you lose the element of mystery. Instead, you're going to say something like, here are the 5 things I ate on repeat during my trying to conceive journey and how I got pregnant in 6 months. And then you're gonna actually reveal those things in the caption. By the time they've finished the caption, they have one specific insight that they're able to walk away with, and they feel like they got a bite-sized piece of value. So tactically, how do you actually do this? Well, the mystery hook, the words, have to pair with the video itself. So there needs to be some sort of visual. For example, here you can see she's choosing an image that actually stops your eyes, not just your mind. But what you can do is something simple. Like for example, if I was starting a video, I could just pick up my phone here and pretend like I'm looking on my phone. Or if I'm making a piece of content about sales or being a businesswoman, I could just pick up my phone and go like this and pretend like I'm talking to someone, and now it's gonna be visually engaging as well. This lives at the top of the funnel. So the goal here is you're attracting people who might wanna actually do this thing or work with you in the near future, but maybe not today. And that's why you need a full funnel and not just this one type of hook. But the next hook will do exactly that. So hook number 2 is the double take. So one of my best performing hooks to this day is the hook, your content is not your business strategy. So the goal here is that you're saying something that's the opposite of what's conventionally believed. Everyone's talking about post 5-6 times a day. And then I'm out here saying your content's not your business strategy. Almost the opposite of the mystery loop, because it gives you the answer up front without actually giving you the answer. So here's an example of doing this in a B-roll reel. She starts the hook with a bold claim, but there's also a visual that matches what she's saying, like she's lifting weights, but then she doesn't actually resolve it until the caption. So this shows you that this woman's fit, she's healthy, she's actually doing the thing she's saying actually works. But what does that mean? She's not actually explaining it in the hook, she's explaining it in the description. Now, another example is from one of my clients, Robin. She's a skincare dietitian. So her hook was, a toxic liver shows up on your skin. As you can see, that's a super bold statement, and it's probably triggering for people with acne or people who are struggling with the exact problem that she solved. Now it's important because she's actually gonna educate you through the carousel, and now that's gonna build authority, trust, and curiosity, which makes this a high converting, high opt-in post. Focus on clarity, simplicity, and make sure each slide only has one idea at a time. So the 2016 version of me would have never said this, but branding actually matters when it comes to these kind of posts. So you want it to look polished. It doesn't have to be overly produced. You don't need to use AI. You want to make sure your branding is big, bold, but also inclusive. So these kind of posts are built for the middle of the funnel. We're not trying to just get millions and millions of views. It can happen, it's happened to me, it's happened to many of my clients, but this is more about education and authority so that you're serving that middle of the funnel, not just the top. Have a little edge, be a little polarizing, step outside the box. That's what makes the best type of double take hook. That leads us into the next hook, which is hook number 3, the value compression. You just want to promise this massive compression of value into a small container. 8 steps, 10 minutes, 3 days. Think this almost like mini ultimate guide. You want to have a really compelling upside for a limited risk or a fixed amount of time. So tactically, what this looks like is a listicle, literally just list it out with one simple sentence, and each tip or trigger, whatever it may be, should be compelling enough that it could be its own micro piece of content if you wanted to. So another example of that is this hook, which says 8 things I did every day to make $1 million on Instagram. This is such a great example of the value compression because $1 million feels massive, but when you break it down into daily things and 8 specifically, it makes the viewer feel like, wow, I could do this too if I just commit to these things every single day. If it's a carousel, you could do something called a tweet shot, where basically it looks like a Twitter thread. That's a popular format. Or you could just keep it really simple and do slide 1, tip 1, slide 2, tip 2. It doesn't have to be fancy. These posts kind of hover between top and middle of the funnel, but if I had to pick one, I would say the middle of the funnel because people truly are more action oriented. They might actually take notes, screenshot it, or even save it for later. So remember, your hook system that we're building here today brings in more and more traffic, awareness, and leads for your business over time. So the next hook is great for exactly that. It's hook number 4, the before and after. What makes these kind of hooks fantastic is that you visually can see where somebody is at before and after side by side. So what I mean by that is if we take this video here and I say the broke versus millionaire, I know for me, that's like a 5-year gap that it took me to get from point A to point B. But in the matter of 1 minute, I can see those 2 versions of me side by side. So it's very visually appealing. It's kind of like a future self visualization, but you get to see it real time. So these videos typically don't need very long captions because you're actually opening and closing the loop within the video itself, because you usually spend a lot of time scripting it and thinking through the concept. You don't film these kind of things on the fly. Ask yourself, what would I have been Google searching 5 years ago? That is going to be exactly where your ideal customer is at today versus where you are now. So you might need to spend a little bit more time on the editing here. You could make it super simple and just switch up your outfit and show 2 different versions of you. But the best type of format for this is a split screen where you're actually showing the 2 versions of you side by side. So this is going to be another example of a top to the middle of funnel. It depends how deep and specific the examples are and really how thoroughly you're explaining them. But remember, the more visual you can make them and the deeper you can get with that older version of yourself versus the current version of yourself, that's what's really going to make someone feel like you understand where they're currently at versus where they want to go. And the next hook is the most powerful one, but you need to use it responsibly. The overwhelmingly useful hook. So this one opens the loop by actually addressing a pain that the common everyday person has, but then it completes it by showing the solution, and it is so quick that you're usually unable to process it, so you need to watch it again and again. When you rewatch it a few times or pause it to slow it down, that's actually what's allowing it to get picked up in the algorithm. So let's start with this example here. So this video right here opens a loop of why your Instagram Reels aren't being showed to anyone. Everyone on Instagram feels that way at some point in time, but then we're gonna close the loop by actually showing them the example of the settings that they need to turn on. This video is intentionally fast-paced so that someone has to watch it over and over again or save it for later, or actually pause the video and take a screenshot of the settings. Now, if we look at this example here, it's about someone who normally teaches organic content, but she's actually showing you how to run a successful Facebook ad because she tried it on her account. So I had to watch this one a few times to understand it because it's a completely new concept for me. And I had to save it for later as well to come back to when I'm actually sitting down and I actually want to learn to run a Facebook ad and do it in front of my computer. And then let's go ahead and look at this example here. You can see there's a ton of information on the screen. I'm probably going to have to watch this one, 2, 3 times to actually grasp it, then pull up my notes app, write down what I want to implement because the information is so overwhelmingly useful. So visually, you want to make sure that there are examples, whether you're showing screenshots back to back to back, you're having a lot of text on one screen, or different movements through different frames. The goal is you want to actually move on from a point pretty fast so that the viewer has to come back and watch it over and over again. So these ones definitely are going to need to have more editing chops. But remember, it's not about having the best camera or the best editing skills. It's actually just showing this story over time of multiple screenshots back to back or some visuals on screen. So these videos are usually going to be top of funnel. If we look at an example of Instagram settings, that could reach any user on Instagram, and that's billions of people. So since this one is going to be more top of funnel, you want to make sure there's more depth in the content after it, whether that's in a freebie, in the caption, or even on other content on your page. And remember, these 5 hooks have been tested with hundreds of creators to actually get you in front of customers that convert and build your business too. And if you want to learn the exact system I use to blow up anyone's Instagram account in just 14 days, watch this video next.